Why Indonesia hasn't become rich yet. On paper, Indonesia seems almost impossible to fail. It's the fourth most populous country in the world, home to one of the youngest populations among major economies, a member of the G20, a democracy, rich in natural resources, strategically located between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Few countries possess this combination of advantages: population, resources, location, political stability compared to many developing nations. And yet, Indonesia's GDP per person remains far below countries like South Korea, Japan, or even Malaysia. Why? Because having advantages isn't the same as using them. Most people think natural resources automatically make countries rich. History tells a different story. Economists even have a name for it: the resource curse. Countries blessed with oil, gold, or minerals often become dependent on exporting raw materials. It's profitable, but it doesn't necessarily create the kind of industries that generate high incomes. Raw materials can make a country wealthy. Manufacturing and innovation make people wealthy. For decades, Indonesia exported enormous amounts of raw commodities: coal, palm oil, nickel, rubber, copper, valuable products, but mostly in their raw or semi-processed form, which meant most of the highest value manufacturing happened somewhere else. But resources are only part of the story. There's another challenge, one that has trapped dozens of countries. It's called the middle income trap. Here's how it works. Poor countries can grow quickly because wages are low. Factories move there, jobs are created, living standards improve, but eventually wages rise. And that's a good thing. The problem is, the country now becomes too expensive to compete with poorer nations, yet not innovative enough to compete with richer ones. Growth slows, progress stalls, many countries never escape. This is where Indonesia finds itself today. No longer poor, but not yet rich. So, what separates countries that escape the trap from those that don't? One word: productivity. Think about two workers. One digs a hole using a shovel, the other uses an excavator. Both work hard, but one produces far more value. That's productivity. Countries become rich not because people work harder, but because every worker becomes more productive. That requires better education, better infrastructure, better technology, better institutions, and businesses that create products the world cannot easily copy. This is why countries like South Korea transformed themselves within a generation, not because they had more natural resources, but because they invested relentlessly in people. This is why the next decade matters so much. Indonesia is still enjoying something economists call the demographic dividend, a large working age population, millions entering the workforce every year. But this window doesn't stay open forever. Eventually, the population ages, just as Japan's did, just as China's is beginning to. If Indonesia can create enough productive jobs before that happens, its economy could grow dramatically. If not, it risks becoming stuck. Not poor, but never really fully developed. This is also why recent policies have attracted so much attention. Indonesia is no longer satisfied with exporting raw materials. The government has pushed companies to process more minerals domestically, particularly nickel. The goal is simple: capture more value inside Indonesia, create better paying jobs, build industries instead of simply exporting resources. Whether this strategy ultimately succeeds remains an open question. But it reflects something important. Indonesia is no longer asking how to grow. It's asking how to grow smarter. So, why hasn't Indonesia become rich yet? Not because it lacks resources, not because it lacks people, not because it lacks opportunity. The challenge has always been transforming potential into productivity, turning raw materials into industries, turning growth into prosperity, turning millions of young people into one of the world's most productive workforces. History is full of countries that had incredible advantages. Some became economic miracles. Others never fulfilled their promise. Indonesia's story is still being written. And that may be the most exciting part, because unlike many developed nations, Indonesia's biggest chapter may still lie ahead.